Location: Greenbrier County, West Virginia, USA. Characters: Ryan Mitchell, 32, geologist. Emily Sanders, 30, writer, Ryan's wife. Marcus Hill, 34, old friend, hunter. Chloe Mitchell, 8, their daughter. The creature, known locally as the Root Eater. Part 1. The House in the Forest. The Mitchell family moved from Boston to an old wooden house deep in the forests of West Virginia. Ryan had received a research grant to study strange seismic activity in the region. Emily, his wife, needed peace and isolation to write her next novel. The house had been abandoned since the 1960s. Locals gave them only one warning: don't dig under the trees. Around here, the roots aren't just roots. Ryan laughed it off. Superstition. But on their very first night, the strangeness began. Part 2. The Scratching Below. At 2:37 a.m., Emily woke to a sound, scratching beneath the floorboards like claws scraping from under the house. Ryan checked the basement. Nothing. The next day, he noticed one of the trees near the house was trembling, not swaying from wind, but shivering from within. Curious, he installed instruments and started digging near the roots. Just 2 meters down, he found something wrong. Part of a jawbone. Not human, not animal. Blackened bone covered in mucus. And the soil around it pulsated. That night, their daughter Chloe woke up and whispered, "Mom, the tree talked to me. It said I live under it now." Part 3. The Root Eater. A few days later, Ryan's old friend Marcus came to visit. He was a hunter, familiar with wild terrain. He went out to check traps and never returned. They searched the forest, found only his rifle, stuffed full of soil as if it had been buried for years. No tracks, no blood, nothing. That night, a loud crash came from the attic, or so they thought. It turned out to be beneath the house. The ground had started to bulge upward, floorboards cracked. Emily opened the basement door. Inside, the roots were moving, like snakes. And then it appeared. A massive figure, neither human nor animal, rose from the roots. Black bark skin, wooden teeth, limbs made of twisting roots, and lifeless, milky eyes. It didn't walk. It grew into the room. They locked themselves in the bedroom. By morning, the thing was gone. But its scent, rot and earth, lingered. Part 4. The Warning. The next day, Ryan found old newspapers in the barn. In 1964, 11 people disappeared in the area. One article read, "The Curse of the Roots." Only one survivor described a creature that came from the ground to feed, using the forest as its eyes and ears. He had written, "If you hear it whisper at night, it's already too late. It has chosen you." That night, Chloe said again, "He's under the house. He's hungry. He told me if we don't leave, he'll take us." Part 5. The Escape. They decided to burn the house. Ryan poured gasoline while Emily held Chloe, shaking, as the flames lit up the walls. The earth split open. The root eater rose. Taller than the roof, its limbs stretched like twisted branches, and its body pulsed with ancient rot. It howled without a mouth, and trees bent toward it like worshippers. Ryan grabbed an axe and charged, buying time. Emily ran with Chloe into the woods toward the road. Behind them, fire, screams, the sound of splintering wood. Then, silence. Epilogue. 2 days later, Emily and Chloe made it to town. Police went to investigate, but found nothing. No house, no ashes, only a small hill, covered in fresh young trees. The sheriff said, "That land's been empty for 60 years, ma'am. No one's lived there." Today, Emily lives in New York. She writes horror fiction now, but her daughter still wakes up in the middle of the night. One night she said, "Mom, there are roots under our house too. He found me again." The Forest of Riverwood location, Douglas County, Oregon, USA. Main characters: Ethan Carter, 29, a nature photographer; Megan Wright, 27, survival blogger; Logan Brooks, 34, ex-military forest ranger; Kayla Martinez, 23, biology student and intern. The monster, known by locals as the Vern. Part 1. The Missing People. The Riverwood Forest had always had a dark reputation. Locals avoided it. Over the past 6 months, 5 people had vanished there. Hunters, hikers, even 2 teenagers on a camping trip. None returned. Police found torn tents, shredded clothing, and sometimes pieces of flesh with bite marks that didn't match any known animal. But this danger is what attracted Ethan Carter, a photographer working on a series about America's most haunted wilderness areas. He teamed up with Megan Wright, a survivalist YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers. Joining them were Kayla Martinez, a biology student doing field research, and Logan Brooks, a forest ranger with a military past. None of them believed in monsters. "If someone disappears in the woods," said Logan, "it's either bears or idiots who don't know what they're doing." But the deeper they ventured into Riverwood, the more unnatural things felt. Phone signals died out. The forest was silent, too silent. Part 2. The First Signs. By day 2, 10 miles deep into the forest, they stumbled upon a destroyed campsite. Everything was shredded, tents torn apart, blood on the ground, deep claw marks on trees. The strangest part? The claw marks were 3-fingered and vertical, as if something massive had climbed down the trees. Kayla took photos. "That's not a bear," she whispered. "No predator leaves tracks like this. And look at the spacing, like it's fast, like it crawled." That night, Megan set up infrared cameras. By morning, one was missing. Another had captured a single chilling frame. A black figure, faceless, tall, lanky, with arms nearly touching the ground, and glowing red eyes. Part 3. The Hunter. By day 4, it was clear they were being hunted. Kayla went to relieve herself in the woods. She never came back. 2 hours later, they found her, or what was left. Her skin was missing, her organs arranged in a disturbing display, like the creature was sending a message. Logan, visibly shaken, muttered, "This isn't war. This is something worse." They decided to retreat, but the forest didn't let them. Their compass spun aimlessly. GPS was dead. The trees began to look identical, as if they were moving, trapping them. Night fell, and it came. Part 4. The Vern. They heard the footsteps first, then laughter. It sounded like Kayla, but twisted, distorted. Then something was thrown into their tent. A bone, fresh, steaming. The Vern was playing with them. At 2 a.m., Logan's tent was ripped open. He fired 3 shots. Silence, then a scream. His bones cracked, the sound echoing into the night. Now only Ethan and Megan remained. By dawn, they found a tree with something carved into it. "Watch," and a camera hanging below. They pressed play. The footage showed Megan sleeping. Then a tall black shape stood just feet from her, motionless. No breathing, no movement. It knew they were watching. Part 5. The End. On the 6th day, Ethan and Megan found an old firewatch tower. They barricaded themselves inside. As darkness fell, they held their breath. Snap, crack. A window shattered. It was inside. Ethan screamed and charged at it with a knife. Megan ran. She reached the lake, and just then, by pure luck, a rescue helicopter spotted the smoke from their emergency flare. Megan was saved. She was the only survivor. A week later, she uploaded the story to YouTube, crying, shaking, telling the world. No one believed her. A month later, another group went into Riverwood. They never came back. Epilogue. One frame from the recovered footage shows a face, pale, boneless, too close to the lens, and in the last moment, a whisper from Megan. It's coming for me. The Hollow Ones location, Maine, Oxford County, USA. Characters, Tyler Grayson, 28 years old, anthropology lecturer. Nina Clark, 26 years old, Tyler girlfriend, travel blogger. Jason Cole, 33 years old, ranger, former police officer. Ellie Grayson, 16 years old, Tyler's younger sister. Creature unknown species called the Hollow Ones. Part 1. The Empty Forest Haven. Pines Forest in Maine is a closed area, off-limits to tourists. The reason? In 1993, an entire tourist camp disappeared here. 14 people. No bodies, only tents, food, and an absence of sound. No birds, no animals. All that remained was a circle of ash and burnt trees. This place caught the interest of Tyler Grayson, a young anthropologist studying disappearances in isolated areas. He gathered a group. His girlfriend Nina, a travel blogger, Jason, a local ranger who knows the forest better than anyone, and his younger sister Ellie, whom he brought to help distract her from depression after their parents died. They went into Haven Pines. Cameras, food, GPS, radios, everything by the book. Everything except one thing. They didn't know this place was not just a forest, it was a portal. Part 2. The first step into nothingness. From the very first minutes in the forest, it felt uncomfortable. Not a single sound, no wind, no birds, no mosquitoes. This isn't normal, said Jason. This forest should be alive, but it's dead. On the second day, they found a stone structure resembling an altar. Inside, children's bones, neatly arranged in a circle and carved into a nearby tree. Hollow, hollow, hollow. Ellie couldn't take her eyes off the inscription. They're calling me, she said. I can hear them. Part 3. Disappearance. At night, Jason disappeared. Without a sound, without a struggle. Only his boots remained, standing in the middle of the camp, as if he had evaporated from the inside. They reviewed the footage. On one camera, a black figure, faceless, hollow like a silhouette. It stood in the dark and just stared, then vanished. Nearby, words scratched into the ground. You are already inside. Tyler tried to get the group out, but the GPS began showing nonsense. A map no one recognized. Everything started to change. The trees moved, the sky darkened, shadows grew deeper. Part 4. The Hollow Ones. On the fourth night, Ellie disappeared. Their tent was torn apart. The ground around it bent, as if something had come out from below and dragged her in. Nina screamed, blaming Tyler, but it was too late. Only 2 of them remained, and then they saw them. The Hollow Ones. Tall, elongated figures resembling humans, but with no faces. Only ragged holes instead of eyes and mouths. Their bodies were semi-transparent, like smoke, but they emitted a hum, as if there was emptiness inside them. Living emptiness. They didn't walk. They glided between the trees. Part 5. The Sacrifice. Tyler realized the altar was a trap. These creatures existed on the other side, and people who stepped into the forest were already entering their world. They didn't kill. They consumed, erased the personality, made you one of them. They wanted Ellie. Now, Nina. They ran, in the dark, through the strange forest where the trees no longer cast shadows, through whispers in which the voices of the missing were heard. You are empty. Let us inside. Finale. One left, at dawn, Nina woke up on the roadside near the forest, covered in dirt, with torn skin, in shock. Tyler was gone. Ellie was gone. Jason disappeared. She stumbled to the road, where a truck driver picked her up. Doctors said she was delirious, talking about hollow people, shadows, and a portal. But she knew. Tyler stayed behind to save her. He distracted the creatures, remaining inside the circle. The last thing she heard was his voice. Run. They hate the light. Palyang. A year later, Nina wrote a book. It was banned on Amazon, too disturbing. No one believed her. But every morning she found a new inscription on her wall, carved from the inside. Hollow, hollow, hollow. If you want, I can help polish or adapt it further for any specific format. Just let me know.